Hi, it's Simon. Welcome back to Better Creating. In this month's AI and automation video on the channel, I want to show you how I've been using Make alongside Notion to automate parts of my business that genuinely have transformed my workflow and saved me hours. Using Make to integrate Notion with things like ChatGPT and Gmail is solving genuine problems in my business and saving me hours. In this video, I'm going to show you the automations I've built to, first of all, sort and manage partnership and client inquiries in my inbox, and then share structured data and client information directly into my Notion CRM with a single click. Not only that, it replies to them if I say yes, it replies to them if I say no. And for the content side of my work, I've even created a ChatGPT integration directly into Notion to repurpose my content using a GPT assistant. If you don't feel Notion AI is up to scratch, you need to see what's possible with Make and ChatGPT. And a big thank you to Make, who I'm partnering with for this series, for helping me make my business better. Let's go. Now, it's worth saying before we jump into the demos that all the ChatGPT actions I'm using here are on the free plan. You have to set up your assistants and they can actually be pay per use, but it's literally pennies on the dollar for so many actions. So you don't need a paid account for this. It's also worth saying before we dive into the demos, I'm not going to show you the full details of exactly how to set up the ChatGPT bots, because I cover that in my previous video and the essentials of doing that around email classification. So check that if you want to. But what I will show you is the text I've input into the assistants to make these systems work. So between this video, that, and a little bit of playing around, you can be well on your way to creating some of these workflows yourself. Let's dive in. So if you've not heard of Make before, it is an automation system where you're able to essentially do a huge amount of complex workflows. This is for my Notion email. It's watching emails, classifying them, taking a pause, and then classifies the emails into different types of inquiries, and then responds and sends them forms and everything else. It's really powerful. Today, I want to show you what I'm doing in my Hello at Better Creating email. So these three automations work together as one super powerful system to manage client and partnership inquiries. So let's say you're someone who's dealing with leads. This will kind of manage it all for you. So the first part of this is to identify in my email what is a partnership and put it into a to review box. So if we jump into that, you can see the workflow that's here. It's a pretty simple workflow and it really does make a difference. So what will happen is Gmail will be watched and we'll look for anything that turns up in the inbox. We then have a ChatGPT assistant that will look at the subject and the text body and review whether or not it's a partnership. Now, if you do want to see more information about how to actually plug in a ChatGPT assistant into a system like this email string, you might be interested to see what I've written in my instructions for this. So this is checking whether it's a partnership or product. I've said you are an expert email classifier specializing in categorizing emails directly related in a bespoke way to my digital product business and YouTube channel. And I want you to classify if it's a partnership or not. This is a really useful line. If there is a high level of uncertainty, please categorize the email as not partnership. And then I've got this, please use this file. So if we go back, I've got a file here with example emails linked into it where it can reference that information and go, oh, this is classified as this is classified as the other. That can be a very useful thing. And then we actually chained these together. It will then check if it's output the result as a partnership, then jump to the next one and we'll do another classification. This is to really double check that we're not getting like generic sales emails mixed up with partnerships. So we've got this saying, make sure that it's a bespoke email as opposed to a newsletter, generic advertisement, or commission earned emails. So you have to mess around a little bit with what you add, but we found that going through that first filter, returning the result, and then a second filter, returning the result, really made a difference. And that will also output if the result is a partnership. And then it modifies the email to be a partnership in review and takes it out from the inbox. We can then finally see that it moves the email into all mail from the inbox. Now, if you want to learn more about this email classification system and how it works, I've got a full video on how I set up the classification in my previous video in this series. So go check that out for my Notion email. You could do the same as that. But let's now look at the next stage of the system, which I think is where the real joy happens. So let's say that I get a client inquiry or a partnership inquiry that I want to start working with and get all of their information into my CRM. You can see that I have all of my live clients in here. And for example, Tally was added through this system. So there they all are. And this is my inbox. So I can drop new possible clients into it. So let's model the process. First of all, I've drafted a little email proposal here from me to me as a partnership proposal for a cat life tester demo. Okay. Hi, I'd like to partner with you around your cat. We can send Pepper some stuff to try out. Would you like to do it? So let's send that to the email address. And rather than wait for this to run, let's run it once. You can follow its progress. It's checking whether it's a partnership. If it's only a partnership, it sends that. It's going to check it on this next section to check it is correct. There we go. It's moved the emails. So if we now jump back into here and refresh, there you go. There is the email dropped into to review. And if I check my inbox, it's removed it from that inbox view. So that's it sorted from my inbox. I've got two choices now. I can either say yes or no. So let me now show you what happens if we say yes. I like the idea of this. I'm going to click yes. Now we're going to hit that. It's moved it to the yes folder. And then let's jump over to the next automation. So this is going to check for anything added to the yes folder using a filter form. Then there's a router, which sends two different options. It will reply with an email going, thank you, we'd love to work together. And on the other side of things, I'm going to use my assistant that extracts structured data for partnerships. Then it goes into JSON. Now this essentially just formats it in JSON, which means that it can be read by lots of different applications. Then it allows me in my Notion attachment to select the database, which is this CRM database, put in the email content, and then of course, break it down. So what's happening is that the ChatGPT bot is drawing out this raw data and then dropping it into our system. So let's now run it and watch it happen. There it goes. It's extracting the data from the email currently. Yeah, it's done it. It's sending it to Notion and it's sent the email. And there it is. My client has turned up. So if we open up the client form, we can see everything has been imported in a single click. So simply by moving it, we've got the email address, the name of the business, it's linked the cat doctor in, very good. Paid integration proposal for tech accessories for Pepper the cat. Love it. It's got the phone in there and all of my other bits of information that I need. Pretty cool, right? And then all I need to do to filter this is to simply change this to new sponsorship and it will drop it into the system. So what about this section? How it's sent the email? Well, if we jump back into my yes pile, we can see that we have drafted an email. Now you could set this to send, but I just love the idea that the draft is waiting for me and then I can just jump in and go, great, that's what I want to say. And then I can add anything else. So I can update it, get it ready to send, and then it's just a matter of sending the email. And just like that, we've dealt with the proposal. Now we could set up another thing to watch emails and move that same email content that I sent into the CRM as well. So we could keep a log of the email content. So if you want to try Make Out, you can get a whole month free, including 10,000 automations that'll easily get you going for that month. So jump over to Make and give it a go. I can't tell you how much it has solved problems and saved time in my business. Where I used to be doing all this admin myself, I now have a sense that my customers are being responded to quickly, and I'm also being able to streamline the process of bringing new clients in and then creating content and results out, all with a bit of Make, Notion and ChatGPT integration. The final part of this system is a really simple thing, which just essentially watches emails for when they're added into the no pile and sends an email automatically. Now, why is that? Well, that's because, let's be honest, when I get a load of stuff to review, I don't want to have to type out or insert the same response every time. I just want to be able to go label it no, like I did, and it be done. So let's now run that and I'll show you what this does. We're going to run this once, it's going to check, and it sends an email. And what we should see is that it's sent an email back to that client saying, actually, hi there, thanks for your interest, but this isn't right for me. All the best in the future. And you can see it's also dropped it into the same system. And the key to doing that is to make sure that when you do send the email within the send email system, you add re into the subject. And there we go. Everything formatted as it should be. So between those scenarios, we're checking if something's a partnership. If I click yes, it runs the reply draft and drops it into my CRM. If I click no, it says goodbye. That is saving me hours of typing and time. So for a bit more of a detailed explanation of how to build this, let me show you how this extracting data into a Notion database works. So first of all, we have this filter. We add these by clicking here, and this is watch emails. We would drop that in, and then you would start to work off that. So we watch the emails. Then we have a router, because I want to do two different things, but you don't need to if you don't want to do this, which is draft a reply. So then we send it to ChatGPT. So here you would select the option, and I'm selecting the connection to my email classification assistant that I've created as a project. Again, watch that previous video if you want to see how to do that connection. And then we pick the assistant, which is the specific assistant that we built. We link from the Gmail information. We just pick the subject is X and the body is Y, and that's all we need to do. So that then needs to send into a JSON. Now, this looks like a bit of complex work, but really all we need to say is drop this in and make the result from ChatGPT formatted as JSON. That's all you need to do. So here in this assistant, we have asked ChatGPT to structure the output that we would like to receive from that email in JSON. Below is the JSON structure you should use for the response. If you wanted to copy this, if you were going to create something similar and you don't understand JSON, I didn't build this, my assistant did. I will now build more of these just by copying this process. So it's pretty simple. You build that into your bot. And then if we go back, once JSON is done, we're then going to go to this, which is create a database item. So here we would select create a database item and link it to that. In this, you would click in, you can search for a contact database, for example. There it is, and I can select it like that, and then it shows the link to the database. And then in fields, we just build fields. So we just create a new field. In name, I want to drop the JSON business name. In the email field of the Notion database, I want to drop the text content. You just fill that form out as you need, press OK. And then that's kind of it. I would suggest with these that you can schedule them to run particular times. With this, I'm just running it once every day because I don't use this a huge amount, but it will just do it automatically. Or you could just have it turned off and come and click it in Make when you need to. So that is that system. Leave me a like if you find this valuable and let me know what you make of the automation in the comments. I'd also love to hear from you guys about what you would want to use Make for in your business, or maybe some suggestions of what else we could do with this with Notion. Now, if you like the look of my CRM or maybe my content manager that I'm using to run all of this, you can actually download that or join the waiting list for the latest version of it via my complete Notion Life OS bundle. It's actually all part of my Creative OS that sits within it. Creative OS is on the Better Creating website if you want to check it out. And you can see you can link your projects in here and all this kind of live collaborators and clients, live content, all of this stuff is run within here. And the CRM that links into it is all within that system. So go and check out my Creative OS if you'd like to find a template that will do all of this. But for now, let's look at the content manager and how I'm doing this content repurposing. So in Make, I've created this workflow, which watches the Notion database, which is my repurposing Notion database. And then within a label, it keeps an eye on if the status name is run. Now, in that system, we have this here, status. So I can click and turn this to run, and that essentially is like a run the automation button in my Notion database. The URL goes in here for the original video, and the transcript of my original material I can paste into here. Now, it could be that you just take this directly from a content database. Here are my videos, for example. If I open this up, I've got all of the work that I'm doing on the video, all of my scripting, so I can just take the bit that I want to repurpose, copy it into the system, drop it into the transcript, and then it will essentially be able to output something for me. So this here links into a content repurposing bot. It's using GPT-4o. This is the advantage of this. We can use that new system. Now, if we jump to the instructions, it will say here, you're an exceptional content repurposing bot. You possess in-depth knowledge and skills. The objective is to convert the YouTube transcription into content to be posted on other websites. And I would like Twitter threads, and I'd like a YouTube community post. I can also give it instructions about tone of voice, and the audience enjoys these subjects, right? So there's the more advanced GPT-4o integration. So when we've said transcription in that instruction, all we're listing in this message is transcription is the transcription input on the Notion database in plain text. That will then send it into ChatGPT, and then it returns. This is an update a database item, and what you can see here is we've selected our database, which is the content repurposing system, and it will send it to that. So If we now go back in here and turn this to run, the intention here will be to drop the new AI output into this box. So let's use my recent video on Apple Intelligence. I'm going to select this and make it run, and we're going to see the content turn up in this box. So we're going to jump to this. I'm going to click run. We're going to watch it go. It's processing here. And if we jump back, we're going to watch this AI output. And there it is. It's turned up. And if we check the run, you can see all the information here, content, text. There's all the information that it has sent, and then it's dropped it into this database. And if we go back, all of the information is here. Look at that. Apple's AI revolution is here. Meet Apple Intelligence. This is a tweet string. Look at that. It's done my hashtags. Dive in, watch the video, and I can just copy this into Twitter. It's all ready to use. And you can see it's updated this tag in the database to be repurposed. Now, the way that works, if we click into here, is we've added the database item from the first section. So we are finding the database and the specific source. And from here, we are dropping the AI input into this thing. And what's really cool is in status, I've made the status be repurposed. So it's updating this status column. So we know it's done. And that is how you link ChatGPT into Notion for one-click content repurposing. So those are the 4 make workflows that have transformed my business so far. I hope this gets you on the road to some serious workflow automation and saving time and money like it's helping me do. Now make sure you check out Make below in my link in the description for a month free trial plus 10,000 automations within it, plenty to get you going. But all of these automations mean nothing unless you've got your own strategies and personal productivity in order. So I recommend watching this video next for my guide to time management and doing more with less, Personal Productivity 101, or watch this one for the complete Notion system I use to run my business, life, and everything with this system. It would be great if you subscribed, amazing if you left a comment if you haven't, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.